We have committed $25 million to upgrade this roundabout here. It's certainly a safety issue for residents here and getting into the shopping centre and also traversing it each and every day.
I'm Christy Johns from Australian Online News, and now the Queensland state election is just 4 weeks away. So today we're going to get to know Liberal National Party member for Moggill, Dr. Christian Rowan. Now, Christian, campaigning is well and truly underway, and your face is almost on every corner of this electorate, but I think there's a few more spots to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we campaign very hard, and since the last election, I've campaigned every day, and that's trying to represent the people of the electorate of Moggill and get them their fair share of infrastructure spending and supporting them with all of the things that they need. But unfortunately in Queensland, we've had a Labor government here over the last 5 years that hasn't been focused on either the electorate of Moggill or the western suburbs of Brisbane, hasn't delivered. Even before COVID-19, the Palaszczuk Labor government was heading towards a debt of $91.8 billion. It's now heading to $102 billion. Even before COVID-19, unemployment in Queensland was consistently over 6%, and it now sits at 8.8%. And Queensland has consistently had the highest level of business bankruptcies and the lowest level of business confidence. And so that has only got worse with COVID-19.
How is the party going to turn that around?
Well, the Liberal National Party has a strong plan for Queensland, and when it comes to creating and protecting jobs, building the vital infrastructure that's needed in Queensland, job-creating infrastructure, we're going to get the economy rebuilt again. We have a strong track record of doing that when we've previously been in government, and working in partnership with the federal Morrison coalition government, we will deliver jobs and infrastructure for Queensland.
You're a father of 4. Have the kids been helping out?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, every election campaign, the kids always help. My eldest son, Nicholas, comes and does roadsides. He's at university now, and our young kids, they always help out as well. So it's really a team effort when it comes to my family supporting my quest to continue to represent the people of the electorate of Moggill and to secure government for Queensland, good government that can deliver the vital jobs and infrastructure that's needed.
We're in Kenmore today. What are the main issues in the electorate of Moggill that you've been fighting for?
So the main issues are certainly traffic congestion is a major issue, not only here in the electorate of Moggill, but right across the western suburbs of Brisbane. We have committed $25 million to upgrade this roundabout here. It's certainly a safety issue for residents here and getting into the shopping centre and also traversing it each and every day. The Liberal National Party has also committed $245 million to a new Centenary Bridge over in Jindalee on the Centenary Motorway and Western Freeway there. But what I've been calling for over the last 5 years is for an integrated road and public transport plan for the western suburbs of Brisbane. And that's very much needed with the cooperation of the federal, state and local governments in order to deliver the infrastructure that we need to bust traffic congestion and to enhance public transport, ensure cyclist safety and also improve active transport, particularly when it comes to people who are walking on pedestrian footpaths.
And how long have the people of this electorate been waiting for these changes like the roundabout upgrades for?
Well, for years and years and years. And, you know, over the last 30 years, Labor's been in power for 26 of those 30 years. But what we need in Queensland is a government that is responsible when it comes to economic management, because if you have responsible economic management, that allows you then to invest in the vital infrastructure that's needed. And whether that's busting traffic congestion, whether that's improving educational services, building additional school facilities, improving classrooms and libraries, whether it's building better hospitals, whether it's securing water for the future, for our mining and resources sector, for agriculture. They're all the things that can be delivered when you have sound economic management, and that is certainly why I want to be part of a Liberal National Party government to deliver that vital infrastructure, not only for the electorate of Moggill and the western suburbs of Brisbane, but for all of Queensland.
Does the LNP have a comprehensive economic plan to help Queensland recover from coronavirus?
Absolutely. The state team has been progressively releasing the policies and plans that will get Queensland working again. We have a comprehensive economic plan, and we continue to release those policies in relation to creating and protecting jobs and building infrastructure. And whether it comes to the $1 billion package for southeast Queensland for busting traffic congestion, whether it's building a new M1, whether it's enhancing the Bruce Highway from Curra to Cairns, the Liberal National Party has a range of policies and plans to build for Queensland. Now, locally here in the electorate of Moggill, I've secured $25 million for the Kenmore roundabout to upgrade that. We've announced a $4 million commitment for Kenmore State High School for a new hall there, and that's very important as there are 2,000 students there and the hall is very dilapidated, so there needs to be the infrastructure there, and that's important for students, for their parents and for teachers. The Liberal National Party has also announced that we would re-establish the Independent Schools Planning Commission and that we would prioritise the area of Mount Crosby, Corona Downs and surrounding suburbs for an assessment of a new high school. We've also committed as a state team to 3,350 new teachers, as well as 760 teacher aides over the next 4 years, and also the independent schools model, which has been so vitally important for our schools here in the electorate of Moggill. Now, they're important announcements locally here, but we also know that people need easing of cost of living relief, that the environment needs to be protected. I've already announced $225,000 for our creek catchment groups, and that'll do significant environmental and conservation protection work locally here. And there's still more to come because we're just entering into the campaign now, and it's very important that we have those commitments and announcements here in Moggill. But we need to get Queensland working again, and that's why we have a comprehensive plan for all of Queensland.
Now, Christian, tell us a bit about yourself. You're a doctor. What are some of your achievements in the medical profession?
Well, I'm a specialist physician by training and in the area of addiction medicine. And so having been a former president of both the Rural Doctors Association of Queensland and the Australian Medical Association of Queensland, I've been calling for a greater investment in services to help people with either alcohol or drug dependency problems. And unfortunately, there is a growing prevalence of people who have those issues. And so one of the great achievements was getting the rescheduling of codeine or over-the-counter codeine-containing medications. That's something that I'd been fighting for a long time from a public policy perspective, given the significant problems that people had developed in relation to dependency, but also physical harms associated with that. And that was one of the reasons that I ran to be a local member of Parliament and also to be part of a state team to get good evidence-based policies in government, and whether that's in health, whether that's in education, or again, whether it's getting the vital infrastructure that people need, or the solutions to create and protect jobs. It's those things when you decide to run for a local seat, you want to do things locally for your community. This is a community that I grew up in. I grew up in Chapel Hill and Kenmore in the 1970s and 1980s, and then into university after that. And so I understand the area. I've been very passionate about it, and I want to deliver not only for the electorate of Moggill, but also for all of Queensland.
From a doctor's perspective, how do you think the Labor government has handled COVID-19?
Well, if you look at the handling of the coronavirus pandemic, you have to give credit to the Morrison Federal Coalition government, the leadership that has been shown by Prime Minister Scott Morrison when it comes to all of the work that was done with the National Chief Medical Officer and the Deputy Chief Medical Officers of getting all of Australia ready through the National Cabinet process and having those discussions with the various state jurisdictions. It's really that national leadership that has put Australia on a strong footing. But when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic, there's still a long way to go. Certainly containment and suppression is achievable, but in the absence of a vaccine, in the absence of antiviral treatment, elimination is going to be impossible to achieve. It's important that people understand we can contain and suppress through good contact tracing and through the health department doing those processes and working to understand how that's done through public health agencies. But containment and suppression is where the public policy objective needs to be. And I know there are a lot of people putting in a lot of time and effort into developing vaccines, and we all hope that that's achieved, and then that those vaccines can then be rolled out. Or other antiviral treatment. But in the meantime, containment and suppression needs to be implemented and continued.
Now, you're also Shadow Minister for the Arts. How has the arts been impacted by coronavirus?
Well, the arts sector has been decimated by that, and simply when you think of a number of our key arts venues here in Queensland having to be closed for a long period of time, many people who are employed in those arts sectors have been doing it very tough. They've either lost their jobs or they've had a significant reduction in their hours. Certainly, again, the federal Morrison coalition government announced a national package when it came to supporting the arts sector, and more needs to be done here in Queensland. And as time goes on and there are easing of the restrictions here, it's important that if people are able to go to venues which have got the COVID safe plans in place and support our artists and those venues, that they get back on track as well. And in Queensland, we have a very vibrant arts and cultural sector, not only here in Brisbane and the southeast corner, but right across Queensland. As I've travelled throughout Queensland in my various shadow ministerial portfolios, whether it be in communities or disability services, I'm also Shadow Minister for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island partnerships, as well as the arts. We have amazing galleries and museums across Queensland, a vibrant arts and cultural sector in rural and regional Queensland, and they certainly need support as well.